Hello everyone, Gashbad here. Well, this long roundabout plan of mine to go through all the 4-player missions for Zombicide Black Plague, introduce all the characters, and then bring everyone together to start going through these 6 survivor missions, well, it's nearing its completion. We're almost there. We're moving on to quest B47, Silas's Gathering. We introduced Clovis in the last game, so might as well do a mission featuring him, as well as Samson and of course Silas himself. This is actually a 1-player quest where you start as Silas and then you rescue the other survivors as you go. There's not a whole lot of backstory to this one. We're fighting an Abominitar. So yeah, for the first time we've broken out the stuff from the zombie boss's Abomination pack. The map is set up as you see here. There are tons of doors. We don't have to roll to open them. We open them automatically so long as we spend an action to do so. Our character Silas is starting off in the center top right. Clovis is starting off in the far top right. And then Samson is down towards the bottom left. As per the scenario rule, Silas is starting off with a short bow and a hammer. Clovis starts with a torch, Samson starts with some dragon bile, and they each get a random equipment card. Not a random starting equipment, just a random equipment card, so they could get anything. In the event, Clovis has ended up with a greatsword, which isn't bad, and Samson has ended up with plenty of arrows, which is not great. Clovis and Samson can't do anything until they're activated. They get activated when another survivor spends an action in their zone. Then they're treated like a normal survivor, they get a turn that turn. But until then, they're not doing anything, although they can still take wounds. There are 4 objectives scattered around. 2 of them are red, but there is a blue and green one hidden in there somewhere. All of them give 5 XP to the survivor who takes it. The blue objective also gives them the Inferno spell, and the green one gives them the Orcish crossbow. But you don't need any of them in order to complete the mission. You need to activate both Samson and Clovis, and you have to beat the Abominitar. The Abominitar doesn't start on the board. Instead, on the map for the quest, there are 4 points across the board. They're numbered 1 through 4, and at the end of every zombie phase, you roll a d6. On a 1 through 4, the Abominitar shows up on the corresponding spot on the map. On a 5 or 6, nothing happens that round. The Abominitar is serious business. He's an abomination, except that he's got a bunch of special rules. He does 2 damage every time he strikes, and he can go through walls. Just smashes through them like Kool-Aid Man. You just find the shortest route to the location with the most noise, and that's where he goes. If he smashes through a wall, then you've got these special smashed wall tokens, and if it opens up a new area, then you spawn in there as usual. And in fact, in this quest, you have a special rule where if there are 2 equidistant ways for him to go, he's going to prioritize going through a wall. You're also instructed to take out all the Torch and Dragon Bile cards in the equipment deck, so the ones that Clovis and Samson start with are the only ones that you're gonna get. The good news is that there's only 1 spawn zone on the board. The bad news is that as soon as you kill the Abominitar, he turns into a spawn zone. After that, you go back to rolling a die at the end of every zombie phase. This time, if you roll 1 through 4, the exit zone shows up on one of those pre-marked spots. Then you have to get all your guys to go to the exit zone and leave as normal. And finally, we take out all the Necromancer spawn cards in the spawn deck. We don't gotta worry about those guys this game. So there you go, it's kind of a lot to it. This mission is marked as hard. We'll see how we do. So round 1 begins and I've got 3 actions with Silas. So what can I do? I can go to the top right and try and pick up Clovis. I can try working my way through all the rooms in the south and try to get Samson. Or I could just hang out here and try and pick up some additional experience before I pick up the 2 survivors. The benefit of that last one is that when you pick up a survivor, they show up at the beginning of the danger level that you're currently on. So if I'm on yellow, then they're going to be on yellow. The downside is that Abominitar is going to show up eventually, and with only 1 character, I really don't trust my rolling to fend off any number of zombie hordes. So I want to pick up a survivor as soon as I can, and since Clovis is closest, it seems like he would be the logical first step. The problem is that if I move 2 zones and then open up that door, then I don't have any other actions. A bunch of bad guys are going to spawn in that upper right corner, and they're probably going to eat Clovis before I can do anything about it. So unfortunately, I'm just going to move 2 zones, get set up in front of that door, and then just chill. When I open that door, I want to do so with a full complement of actions available. So that's the end of the hero turn. We're on to the zombie phase. No zombies on the board, so we go straight to spawning. The single spawn zone in the center right gives us 1 fatty, and sure enough, the Abominitar shows up. He shows up in space 1, which is the far top left corner. Yeah, it would have been cool if he hadn't shown up for a while, but that spot isn't actually that bad. He's kinda off away from me, it'll take him a while to hunt us down. It could have been worse. If I had rolled a 2, he would have just appeared right where I was standing. Oh, and of course I'm using Warhammer Fantasy Battles proxies for all these models. Very happy with my Abominitar. I used a heavily converted Tomb King's Ashabti there. Just wanted to point that out because I was kind of proud of him. So back to Silas, and we're on a time limit now. Gotta go rescue my friends before this big undead Minotaur shows up. So I'm gonna kick open the door to the right, do it automatically, and we're gonna spawn the 3 rooms in the top right corner. As always, I'm gonna spawn from the furthest room away to the closest, and we immediately run into trouble. The first room that I spawn gives me a double spawn, so now I'm gonna draw 2 zombie cards in the room with Clovis, and he can't move right now. Those 2 cards give me 1 walker and then 2 walkers for a grand total of 3 walkers. Hey, isn't that convenient? That's exactly how many wounds Clovis has. Uh-oh. And then for the final room, the one right opposite Silas, we get a runner. Fantastic. I don't have enough actions to run into the room and activate Clovis. That runner is in range to hurt me right now, but like I said, if I don't do something about the room with Clovis, he's going to die and that'll be an automatic mission fail. I think about it for a little bit, but there's really only one thing I can do. For his next action, Silas has to move into the room with the runner. And then I have to ignore said runner and take a shot with his shortbow into the room with Clovis. Bunch of problems with that strategy. First of all, obviously I'm going to take 2 wounds from the runner. Second, I'm shooting into a zone with my friend. Now Silas does have +1 to hit with ranged weapons, but even so, if I roll a 1, I'm going to put a wound on Clovis, which he absolutely doesn't need. Because even if I do manage to kill off one of the walkers in his room, he's going to take 2 wounds in the zombie phase. But every other move I can make is going to end with me losing automatically, so that's what I got to do. Move into the room with a runner, take a shot up north, hope that I don't roll a 1. I don't, which is great. I kill off 1 walker, and then we're on to the zombie phase, and sure enough, Silas gets slashed for 2 wounds, Clovis gets beat up for 2 more wounds, Fatty steps forward, Abominitar stomps forward because that's the closest route, and in the spawn phase, that original spawn zone gives us 3 walkers. And we are left just barely hanging on to life and in a lot of trouble. A lot of dice rolls have to go well from now on. Yeah, hard difficulty indeed. Hero turn again and we're back to Silas. I don't have a choice, I have to try and kill the runner in my zone. I can shoot at him because there are no other friendlies here, that means I hit him on a 2+, but if I miss, I don't have enough actions to activate Clovis and he's gonna die. On the other hand, if I ignore the runner and just move up north and activate Clovis, well, the runner's going to kill one of us in the next round, so I'm going to die anyway. So Silas takes a shot, but he comes through for me. Runner dies. Move up north, activate Clovis. Thankfully, Clovis has a great sword. 5 dice plus his add an extra die in melee, so 6 dice, hits on 5 pluses. I need to clear out those 2 zombies remaining in a zone. First run of attacks, only kills 1. Second set of attacks, thankfully kills off the last walker. Great. Here's the deal. I can't search because if I get an awe card, then we're going to die. So I'm going to trade with Silas. I'm going to give him the greatsword. I'm going to take the hammer. Zombie turn and the Abominitar stomps forward, smashing through the door into the area that we're in. That means that we now spawn all those rooms that he is leaving. The far room gives us 1 walker. The top left corner gives us a double spawn. So in the room that the Abominitar just left, we get an extra walker activation, which is cool. We're in the blue experience level, so nothing happens. Plus another walker. The fatty and the 3 walkers continue to close in on our position, and then that original spawn zone gives us another double spawn. So right back to that original spawn point, we get 1 runner and 1 fatty, which is not helping. So back to the heroes, and current plan is to get away from the big scary Abominitar. That means Clovis with his new hammer is going to have to use 1 action to go down south and try and beat up that fatty, which he does. Can't go out on the street because then that runner's going to kill me. Also really nervous about opening up that door to the south because I don't know what all's going to spawn there. So instead, I think I'm just going to post up here. Clovis is going to search and he finds a dagger, which is really, really helpful. For his part, Silas is going to move south 1 zone, end up in the same zone as Clovis, and then shoot out the door. He's going to kill both of the walkers with his last 2 activations. Also helpful. New hero turn, a walker and a runner move into our zone. Everyone else moves in behind us. That Abominitar is getting real close. And for spawns, we get an abomination. Oh, it's a spicy board today. So now I really don't feel comfortable opening up that southern door like I wanted to. Just too many bad things around me. I'm going to activate Clovis first. He's now rolling 3 dice with his extra die melee, the dagger, and the hammer. First run of attacks kills off both the runner and the fatty. Fantastic. He then goes and moves out on the street. If I had a choice, I'd rather face the abomination as opposed to the Abominitar, and he kills the last fatty. Silas is up next. Clovis had a really good turn, so I'm not really sure what to do with him. I'm going to take a chance and do a search action. I find plenty of bolts, which doesn't help me at all. I consider sprinting away from this whole mess, but I don't think that's going to help. I'm just going to move into Clovis's zone and call it a day. I'll try and keep my guys together. Zombie turn, the Abomination moves into our zone. The Abominitar, according to how the rules work, he's going to bust through that door and try and cut us off to the north. Rest of the walkers just kind of creep along. Spawn zone down south gives us a single walker. Back to the hero turn, and we're still in survival mode. Silas has to move out of the Abomination zone. I'm going to move to the right. I'm going to try and lead these guys in a little ring around the rosy kind of thing. But I have to take a shot to the north, and I have to kill that walker, because if I don't, I'll have too many guys in my zone. I won't be able to move and do anything else, and I'll eventually die. Thankfully, Silas is still avoiding those ones, kills off that one walker. We get to keep playing. Clovis spends 2 actions on his turn to move into Silas's zone. I don't dare search. I don't want to move north into that empty room because I want the Abominitar to go south. So sure enough, zombie turn, Abomination comes into our zone again. Abominitar moves down south, clearing the way to the north. Last walker creeps forward. Spawn phase gives us 3 more walkers. And then next turn, much the same. Silas has to do the exact same thing again. Uses 2 actions to move out of the zone with the Abomination, takes a shot into that room with a single walker, kills him. Again, if I had missed, we'd be in a ton of trouble. But Silas has been performing today. That frees up Clovis to use 2 actions to move out of the zone with the Abomination, and he can move 1 more zone. So he ends up in that zone where the walker just died. We're so close to being able to make a breakaway here. Zombie turn, the Abomination moves into Silas' zone again. The Abominitar sees a shortcut and he moves straight north trying to get to Clovis. The walkers amble in behind them, and we get nothing in sight for the spawn phase, so no new zombies. Cool. Back to the hero's turn, Silas's turn. Run, 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 run. 2 actions to get away from the Abomination, 1 more zone of movement. Clovis's turn, moves into the zone of Silas. There's an objective there. Might as well pick it up. It's just a red objective. Clovis gets 5 XP, puts him in the yellow experience level. Yeah, I would have liked a vault weapon, but in the meantime, I kind of need these actions. I'm going to spend the next 2 to get all the way through that corner area in the top left and get in front of that door leading to the area that'll eventually get us to Samson. Not the way I thought it was going to go, but we're kind of improvising here. Zombie turn, and for the first time in a while, none of the zombies move into one of my hero zones. The Abomination and the Abominitar move into the same zone right behind Silas, and then we go into the spawn phase and we get another double spawn. That gives us a walker activation, so those 3 walkers that were following in behind the Abominations get an additional move, and they end up in the same zone as well, getting real crowded there. Can't get that Dragon Bile soon enough. And then we spawn another 4 walkers. So we're back to the hero's end Clovis, and he's got to open that door. The room on the bottom left gives us 3 walkers. I forgot about the room over to the far right, so I get that now. That gives us 1 fatty. The long central room gives us 2 walkers, and the room right in front of us gives us 3 walkers. So some good news, bad news. It's kind of a lot of guys, but there's no runners and there's no extra activations, so no one ran out and killed me. But I really can't advance into that area unless I wanted to die, because that's too many walkers there for Clovis to take care of. At least not reliably. I still have 3 actions left, so I think it's safe enough for me to spend an action to reorganize my inventory, bring the torch into my hand. Then I'm going to do a search action. That gives me a dagger and an axe. The axe does nothing for me, but now I can double wield daggers. That means Clovis can now attack with 6 dice in action. That's pretty good. So he's just going to wait there and let the zombies come to him. Silas's turn, spends 2 actions moving into Clovis's zone. 3rd action, shoot in the room with all the zombies, kills one of them, that puts him in the yellow. Great, 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 gives him another action, takes another shot, kills another walker. Zombie turn, now we've got zombies from both sides closing in on us. Time is of the essence. Thankfully, the original spawn zone only gives us a single fatty. Back to the heroes. Gonna start with Clovis again. We've got 1 walker in my zone. With double daggers, he has no problem dispatching it. Spends his next action to move down 1 space. /// rolls kind of badly, only kills 1 more walker. Final action kills off the last one. Silas moves down into that same zone. Spends his next 3 actions shooting into that long room. Kills off 3 walkers. Very happy that walkers are first in target priority in this game. Just leaves the single fatty there. Which then goes and moves into our zone while that giant mob of abominations and walkers chases after us. And we get another single fatty in the original spawn zone. Back to the heroes. Okay, double daggers was fun, but we've got to get the hammer out from inventory to take care of this fatty. Spends his 2nd action to kill the fatty, 3rd action to move into that long room, and then he just waits. Why does he wait? Because I was under the impression that Samson was sitting in a room. I thought if I opened the door then I'd have to draw a spawn card for where he's at, and I was worried that Samson might get killed depending on what spawned there. Turns out that's actually a street. In fact, sharp-eyed viewers might actually notice that I've got that whole tile upside down. Just wasn't paying real close attention to the art when I laid this out. It doesn't really matter, the layout is exactly the same, just in case you noticed. So because I'm dumb, I just waste some time with Silas. He moves down 2 zones, takes the objective, it's a red objective again, still no vault weapon, moves back up and he's done. Again, should have opened that door and freed Samson. Zombies then go and continue chasing us. In the spawn phase, we get a fatty activation. So the 2 fatties at the end of this whole parade put on a little burst of speed. So back to the heroes, starting with Silas. Break open the door, that's when I realize that that's not a room, it's just a street. Now I feel dumb. Silas moves into Samson's zone, frees him, and then moves back to the long room. And I don't see any reason to waste any time. The more I hold off on this, the more likely it is that we're going to get an additional abomination activation or something terrible. Samson's going to take 2 actions, move into the zone right outside that big mass of bad guys, and toss in the dragon bile. And just like that, Clovis is up. He's going to equip the torch from his inventory, move up 1 zone, throw the torch, kill off all those guys. There goes the abomination. There goes the Abominitar. Bunch of walkers burn to death, and a spawn zone shows up. I actually had not read the quest rules very carefully. At first I thought we just won. Then I realized, no wait, there's an exit zone. So maybe the exit zone just shows up there? Nope. The spawn zone shows up and we have to wait for the end of the zombie phase to find out where the exit actually arrives. If I had read that before, I probably would have moved my guys around to be a little bit more cautious around this spawn zone. Especially since, of course, killing off all those guys puts Clovis in the orange experience level. I'm going to give him the +1 free melee action around skill. I'm going to trade around some equipment for his final action. Samson needs a weapon. I'm going to give him the axe and the dagger. Clovis is going to re-equip the hammer and the dagger. So now the table is looking a lot more manageable, assuming we don't get anything too horrible in the spawn phase. The zombies all truck forward. The original spawn zone gives us 3 fatties. The new spawn zone gives us 2 fatties. Kinda a lot of those guys wandering around. And in the die roll at the end, we get a 2, which means the exit zone appears all the way back at the beginning. Could have been better. At least now we have a little room to play because Samson is around us, so that if push comes to shove, we've got 1 guy who can take some wounds. So new turn, we're going to start with Clovis. He's going to move into that room with the spawn zone and the 2 fatties. Going to use his free melee action to kill off 1 of them. Making me a little worried here. I really don't want to get stuck on that spawn zone. Thankfully, he kills off the second one with his second true action. Moves up 1 zone, and what the heck. He does a quick search and finds a short sword. Samson's going to move 2 zones to end up in the same spot as Clovis. Does a search, finds water, immediately uses it for +1 XP, and then kicks that door open in the corner. Silas moves 3 zones to end up with all his good friends. Last action picks off a walker to the right. Zombie turn, they all shuffle forward. 3 walkers and a fatty end up in our zone. We get 3 runners in the original spawn zone, which is not great because I need to go over there, and we get 4 walkers right behind us. They are not going to make this easy. Gonna start with Clovis again, because he is our best shot at clearing out a bunch of zombies real quick. Rolling 3 dice with the hammer-dagger combo, looking for 4s, kills 2 walkers with his first free melee action, then he kills a second walker, then he kills the fatty. Why did I save the fatty for last? Because I'm dumb, and I forgot that when you're striking melee, you can freely choose whichever monster gets the hit. Playing too much Marvel Zombies. But it all works out, it's all fine, still gives me 2 more actions to get out of that room and back onto the street. So Samson has some actions to burn, so I'm going to search again, and I find plate armor. That is real good news. With a full complement of wounds, the Ironhide skill, and plate armor, we've got a real potential to tank a lot of damage with Samson. He's going to hand his axe and plenty of arrows over to Silas, and he's going to take the greatsword, and then he's going to move 2 zones to end up in the same spot as Clovis. Silas is going to take 2 shots to the south, kills a walker with each one, has not rolled a 1 on his hit rolls with the bow and arrow yet. Of course, it helps that now he has plenty of arrows, so he gets to re-roll them, but still. That puts him in the orange, which gives him a free ranged attack. Might as well kill off 1 more walker to that zone to the south. Not nearly so threatening in that direction now. And then he moves to join his friends. We can almost see daylight. We are doing real well. The zombies move towards our position. Spawn phase rolls around, immediately gives us a double spawn. That's fine. Goes over to the second spawn zone. Gives us 5 walkers. And another double spawn. That's not great. Back to the original zone, gives us another 5 walkers and 2 runners. Don't need this group guarding my way out. No way out but through, though. Samson's up first, moves forward 2 zones. First action, misses completely. Second action, though, kills off 2 runners. That's not too bad. Clovis is up next with his hammer-dagger combo. 2 zones forward, free melee action, kills off 3 fatties, and then kills off the final runner. Just gonna stay in the zone with Samson though, he's our meat shield. Finally, Silas has very little to do but to move forward to 3 zones, take a quick free ranged attack action at that spawn zone, kills off a walker as he do, and then moves back with his friends. Zombie phase and the runners end up in our zone. Really don't want to see an activation from them. In the spawn phase, the spawn zone right in front of us gives us 2 runners. Back to the new spawn zone on the left gives us another double spawn. Great, again, back to the original spawn zone gives us 3 fatties and another double spawn. Dodge, dodge, dodge those activation cards. Back to the left, 5 walkers and then 6 walkers. Big throng of zombies over there, but I'm going to take a shot at the exit. Gonna start with Clovis, just need to hack my way through the last couple of these zombies. I figured the best way to do this is to take an action to trade with Samson. I know it burns one of my actions, but I think it gives me the best shot. Gonna take the double of daggers again, giving me those 6 attacks. First I have to clear out those 2 runners in my zone, take my first attack action, and I completely miss 6 attacks and I don't get a single 4+. This may have fallen apart really fast. Second of 4 actions, kills off the 2 runners. That's good. Might as well go for it. Third action, moves into the zone with the 4 walkers and the exit. I think I'm due for some good dice. If I can kill off all of these walkers, that zone will be clear and I can leave through the exit at the end of my turn. Clovis does it. 6 dice, I get the 4 4+ that I need, kills off those 4 walkers, and I leave. And the way is completely clear. Samson and Silas move in as well, and they take off. Game over, we won. Oh, that was way too long for me to spend with 1 wound on all my characters. The way this quest is set up, I could very easily have lost the first time I opened a door that contains one of my companions, but we got the win. We get to move on with our little campaign. Our Plogsburg petitioners can hopefully go and rejoin some of their other friends, and it's nice to win another game. I had lost Anne a couple of games ago. We just lost the game with the Ghostbusters board game. It just helps keep morale up. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, observations, or concerns. I'll see you on the next one.